Hi there. My name is Becky, and today I wanted to bring something a little bit different to you. Um, but before I do get started with it, I want to say this. Today's topic is a sensitive one. So if you find that it triggers you, do what you need to take care of yourself. Maybe you turn off the video, maybe you come back to it later, maybe you don't. Do what you need to take care of yourself. This is a serious topic and a little sensitive. I actually presented it to a networking group this morning, and yeah, it was serious there as well. So, what we're talking about today, what I wanted to bring to you today, is 5 steps to help someone in crisis. So, why I'm doing this presentation, like I said, I did it for a networking group this morning and I wanted to record it so other people could hear it as well. I'm recording this actually on September 11th. September is National Suicide Prevention Month, um, and yesterday was World Suicide Prevention Day. So I chose to do this presentation just to bring this forward, this information out there, bring it to more people, and I wanted to record it so that I can share it with others. So you may be seeing this at a different time of year. It doesn't really matter. This information is super important. It is something that you can use anytime. So why did I choose this topic? Well, because I've dealt with it personally and had to have to be very aware of it professionally as well. There have been a couple of people close to me that have been affected by suicidal thoughts. Um, and professionally, even recently, I had someone in my office who was saying things like it would be easier if they didn't exist. So I had to stop and ask them if they were suicidal. Did they have a plan? What were they? Tell me more about what's going on. So this is something that I do have to be aware of, and I wanted to again bring it to other people so that this information is out there. Um, yeah, so that's why I'm bringing this to you. Just a few facts here, and these statistics are in the U.S. alone. And while this problem is a global problem, these statistics are just for the U.S. Um, but many adults think about suicide or attempt suicide. In 2022, approximately 13.2 million seriously thought about suicide, 3.8 million made a plan for suicide, and 1.6 million attempted suicide. Of those, over 49,000 people died. That's about one death every 11 minutes. That's a lot of people that this affects. You might know someone who has thought about suicide, made a plan, or even attempted it. So this very well might touch close to home for you as well. So, the following 5 action steps for communicating with someone who may be suicidal are supported by evidence in the field of suicide prevention. I did not make these up, but I am sharing them with you because I think there's a lot of value in just knowing how to communicate with someone who might be feeling this way. So, the first step is to ask and then listen. So, how do you do this? You can ask a question just like I did with my client. Are you suicidal? Are you thinking about suicide? This communicates that you're open to speaking about suicide in a non judgmental and supportive way. Asking in this direct, unbiased manner can open the door for effective dialogue about their emotional pain and can allow everyone involved to see what next steps need to be taken. Other questions you can ask might be, how do you hurt? How can I help? Um, just be sincere and non judgmental as best as you can. And little caution here, don't ever promise to keep their thoughts of suicide a secret. That keeps everything closed up when you do, but also you might need to share this information with someone else in order to keep this person safe. So you don't want to have to break a promise to them just to do that. The flip side of ask is, of course, listen. If you ask and then you just steamroll over them and you don't listen, it's not helping them. So listen. Listen as best you can non judgmentally. Make sure you take their answers seriously and not to ignore them, especially if they indicate they're experiencing thoughts of suicide. Listening to the reasons for being in such emotional pain, as well as listening for any potential reasons they want to continue to stay alive, are both incredibly important when they are telling you what's going on. Help them focus on their reasons for living and avoid trying to impose your own reasons for them to stay alive. Has a lot more value when it comes from them than it does when it comes from you. Step two is, of course, to be there, right? This could mean being physically there, being physically present for someone. Might mean speaking with them over the phone or in any other way that shows support for the person at risk. An important aspect of this step is to make sure you follow through with the ways in which you say you'll be able to support the person. Do not commit to anything you're not willing to do, not able to accomplish. If you are unable to be physically present with someone with thoughts of suicide, talk with them to develop some ideas for others who might be able to help as well. Again, you only want to connect into those who are willing, able, and appropriate to be there. Listening is again very important during this step. Find out what and who they believe will be the most effective sources of help. Again, get it from them. Don't impose it on them. Step number 3, help keep them safe. How do you do this? First of all, it's a good idea for everyone to be on the same page. After the ask step and you've determined suicide is indeed being talked about, it's important to find out a few things to establish immediate safety. Have they already done anything to try to kill themselves before talking to you? Important to know. Does the person experiencing thoughts of suicide know how they would kill themselves? Do they have a specific and detailed plan? What's the timing for their plan? What sort of access do they have to their planned method? All very important information for you to know if you are to keep them safe, right? Step number 4 is help them connect. Helping someone with thoughts of suicide connect with ongoing supports like the 988 Lifeline can help them establish a safety net for those moments they find themselves in a crisis. Additional components of a safety net might be connecting them with supports and resources in their communities. Explore some of these possible supports with them. Are they currently seeing a mental health practitioner of some sort? Have they in the past? Is this an option for them right now? Are there any other mental health resources in the community that can effectively help? You may not know all of these things, but if you look around, ask maybe a pastor or ask a doctor, they can refer you to someone who can help. And always you can have them dial the 988 Lifeline. That is staffed with people who are knowledgeable and are able to help refer them to someone else. So one way to start helping them find ways to connect is to work with them to develop a safety plan, which is, again, asking around, seeing who they can work with. This can include ways for them to identify if they start to experience significant, severe thoughts of suicide, along with what to do in those crisis moments. The safety plan can also include a list of individuals to contact when a crisis occurs. So they may not be feeling this way all of the time, but if you help them set up a plan of what to do when they do start having these suicidal thoughts, then you can keep them safe longer, right? Help them connect to other people this way. And of course, step number 5 is follow up. All of this does no good if you don't do what you are going to, if you don't do what you say you are going to do. So following up is a key part of this. After your initial contact with a person experiencing thoughts of suicide, and after you've connected them with the immediate support systems they need, make sure to follow up with them to see how they're doing. Leave a message, send a text, or give them a call. The follow up step is a great time to check in with them to see if there's more you're capable of helping with, or if there are things you've said you would do and haven't yet had the chance to get done for the person. So always only agree to things that you can do. Don't overpromise when you know that you can't do it, and follow up, follow through. Key parts of this plan. So I wanted to share this slide with you. Warning signs, some warning signs of suicide. Um, the Your friend or loved one might be exhibiting them, but bear in mind that they don't always show them to everyone. But if you hear them talking about wanting to die, guilt, shame, being a burden to others, maybe feeling empty, hopeless, trapped, anxious, full of rage, maybe they mention they have unbearable emotional or physical pain. You might see them change their behaviors. Maybe they take more risks, they eat or sleep more or less, use drugs or alcohol more often. Maybe they withdraw more than you're used to. These are all some warning signs that you might want to check in with your friend. Here are a few just additional facts I wanted to share. Suicide affects all socioeconomic levels. It does not discriminate between rich, poor, middle class, any part of the country. It is out there, and yeah, it affects everyone. Additionally, the VA estimates that approximately 22 veterans commit suicide each day. That's such a high number of veterans committing suicide each day. So let that sink in for a moment. That's roughly a quarter of all suicides in the US. You know a veteran, check in with them every once in a while. Just see how they're doing. Um, and additionally, suicide rates among males are much higher and account for 80% of suicides each year in the US. So those male veterans especially, you might want to check in with. Now, I mentioned the crisis hotline number a few years ago. 988 was established as the crisis hotline number nationwide. You can dial that anywhere and be connected with someone knowledgeable who can help during a crisis. So that is something that you could post in your office. You never know who might be in a crisis. So if you post it, the more we get this number out there, the more people we can help. Such a simple number and can save lives. 988. Suicide is often a silent killer, and I say that because these warning signs of suicide often are masked. I know personally someone who, to everyone else, he appeared fine. But to me, he let his guard down and he started to show some of these signs. So he was able to mask his symptoms with, almost everyone else that he knew. And to them, if he had attempted suicide, they would have had no clue. So checking in with people, even if they're not showing these warning signs, can be really helpful. Just, ask, how you doing today? And don't be afraid to ask someone if they've been thinking about suicide. Asking about it is not going to push them towards suicide. Instead, it's going to open the conversation and help them get help if they need it. They may be reluctant to talk about it and don't push, but it's definitely opening the conversation, and that's what's important. And this final slide, your mental health is just as important as your physical health. There's such a stigma or taboo about mental health that makes a lot of people refuse to even talk about their problems. They don't want to acknowledge it. And that does not help anything. That leads to more and more issues. So I often suggest to people that if you are going to get your physical health checked once a year, maybe you go to the dentist a couple of times a year and get your teeth cleaned. Maybe you get your eyes checked every year. All these physical things are super important, right? But when was the last time you had a mental health checkup? And someone asked me this morning, how do you do that? How do you get a mental health checkup? And it can be as easy as just talking to your doctor when you're there. for your physical. It could also be you scheduling a session with some sort of mental health practitioner. It doesn't have to be a long term commitment, but just having someone to talk to about daily issues, about things that have built up, about any thoughts that you're having that may seem a little bit out of the ordinary can be really helpful. People like myself, I work in the mental health field as well. Even though I am not a mental health practitioner, I still deal with people's emotional health and mental health. So, people like me, you can reach out and schedule a session, even if it's once a year, once a quarter. It can be enough just to give you that support and to let you know when you do need even more help. And that's what's really important here. So, getting your mental health checkup is just as important as your physical health checkup. So that is, if you've stuck with me through this, thank you. This is just a little light on suicide prevention and how we can help those that are dear to us, how we can prevent these numbers from rising. Maybe we can get them to come down a little bit. Um, but yeah, if you have any questions or comments, please reach out. If you want to set up an appointment, I will add in some information on how you can do that. Um, do a mental health checkup. Every once in a while, it's a good thing. Yeah. So check in with your loved ones, check in with your friends, and post 988 in your workplace. Let people ask a question, what's that for? And start the conversation about mental health and share that crisis hotline number. So that is all for now. I will be back soon with another video for you.